Welcome to PPA&J. Tonight we have Dennis Hammon, who is going to go over this landscape photography, what's in his bag. So no further ado, Dennis, take it away.
Well, thank you. Robert just spent a week with Sherry and I at the Delaware Mars School, and so we kept talking about this program. So we're excited to come and share you guys because I'm gonna just go to my share this real fast. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I got a lot of things going on. Okay, so y'all see the photo of Sherry and I.
Yes.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be doing any of this without this good-looking redhead that's hanging out with me. Sherry and I have been together, well, in June it'll be 12 years. So it's nice to have somebody that likes to do what I do. So we enjoy going out and doing workshops, as well as we live 90 miles from Yellowstone Park and 90 miles from Teton. So it's really a tough gig to have, and then we travel all over and doing the other shots and work, and fine art, scenery, landscape work has become just a big part of our business, and for decor for offices and businesses and different things. And Sherry, you're welcome to jump in anytime. She's there hanging out with me. Maybe I'll. Okay. So this is a shot that Sherry did of me just a couple months ago. I received the national award from ASP, and so Sherry, I asked her to do a new portrait. I mean, this is us in one of my favorite places in the world, Tetons, in January. And it's like 10 below, but who cares, right? So this is a little bit about me. I've been around for a while, almost 50 years in the industry, PPA juror and approved photographic instructor. And I said, most importantly, I'm a husband to Sherry. And that's the most important part. And those you don't know her should. But so we do a lot of landscape work. And where all this program came about is, because when I travel and before I met Sherry, I'd go off for whole weekends at a time and days at a time. I wouldn't tell anybody because I'd been through a divorce for 18 years. And so I just traveled around doing a lot of scenic work. And so people got kind of freaked out. And then I started having a lot of things happen on. So I go, okay, so I'm going to decide what's in my bag, because I get that asked all the time. So besides my camera gear, I have another bag, actually several little bags, but Sherry hates it when I call it this, but I call it my go to hell bag. So it's like when things go to hell, I can fix things. And you guys are welcome to chime in, jump in anytime we're going there. So, one of the first things, because what I just told you is anymore, I want to make sure that I tell people where we're going, when we're leaving, when we're going to be back. And I actually carry real paper maps and survival gear. And because, apps may not work on your phone. Now, this is an interesting little side trip is that years ago, I went on, I taught at BYU in Utah, and then I went on the BYU survival, and I went on a 2-week survival expedition with nothing but a rope, a knife, and a blanket in the desert. I say I could do it. I did it. I don't think I'd ever do it again, but I still study, and sorry, I do not know what's going on. Sorry. I was a Boy Scout, so yeah, I love doing all that kind of stuff. So first thing I do is I tell people, I says, get maps and info on the areas where you're going. I collect maps. I have a whole closet full of maps, and Sherry hates it that I still collect paper maps. And yes, I know how to read topo and compasses, but
I
this
do
is
not hate that you collect maps.
well, you hate where I collect them at, store them. It's funny because people call up, like Lynn calls them, goes some about Yellowstone, and I have extras there. When I go there, I get them, I mark them up, and then I'll send them to them and go, here's where I'd recommend going. So I help people out and keep my maps out. So here's one of the things that I think is so important is I carry walkie-talkies with us. And there's several reasons I have walkie-talkies. Number one, if we're in 2 or 3 cars, we have several walkie-talkies, and we can put them in between cars because a lot of places they don't have cell phone reception or it's spotty, so we can talk back and forth with some good walkie-talkies. And so we do have these. Now, this is something interesting for you portrait photographers that I do as well. And Robert, I was going to show this on the trip, but we didn't run out of time. So I'm out and about. and we're doing a lot of our scenic work. I mean, a lot of our clients are out in the woods or on the mountains or on the edge of a river or wherever, and you can't hear them. So I'll drop a walkie-talkie at their feet, and then I'm back 20, 30, 40 feet, whatever the case may be, for my images. And then I'll talk to them through the walkie-talkie and tell them what I want to do and help direct them without them having to yell and scream over the park. So it's a good little tidbit to help people out. So we carry lots of flashes. These are actually in my camera bag, and I have another bag for all this, but I have my headlamps for when I'm out and about, and if it's getting dark or working on things. And of course I have little mini flashlights to kick light in there. And so these are just little things that's always in my bag. And people ask, how come I have such a heavy bag? Well, this is why, because I have a lot of this stuff in my camera bag. Now, being close to Yellowstone and Tetons, this is important whether you're out there and about, and bear spray is important. I've never had to use it. I've had some close encounters with critters. I've had bears 5-10 feet away from me and some different things, but I've never had to use this. A lot of it's common sense, just being the right, just watch what you're doing. But if you're out and about in the backwoods, this is important. Sherry just posted a funny joke today about the rangers are saying, don't use bear spray like bug spray. You don't spray it all over your body. That's not how it works. Believe it or not, people do that. All right. So this is something interesting. I don't know about New Jersey, but boy, we have some big bugs here. I think the mosquito is a state bird here, and they'll carry away small children. So you buy these little Thermacell mosquito repellents, and they run on a little Thermacell, and you fill it up, and you run it, and you can get a couple of those. And you put one back by your client, you put one on your back belt, and it helps deter the critters off away from you. So they're about 30, 40 bucks a piece, and that will make life a whole lot easier trying to, do sessions out and about with the critters and about. Again, critters, this is one thing that's in my bag. We have lots of course, repellent. We have lots of ticks out here. We did a bride a year ago, and out in the sagebrush about this time of year. And you remember, Sherry, how many ticks we pulled out of her dress and netting? That netting just sucked in. We must pulled off a couple of dozen ticks out of her dress. By the way, she couldn't get her dress off fast enough after we found the ticks. But so a lot of spray and the lip balm and the family towelettes for wiping things on. So this is important in my bag because this is stuff that people forget about. And so we always have this with us, and we go on sessions and we spray down our sessions and we help people out because this is one of the things that get forgotten. Now, this is an interesting little device. It's a small one compared to the big one, but of course we can do color balance outside, but the back side is all white. And so I can use it for a reflector as well, and getting the color balance, but also getting a reflector on small mackerel and small plants and things that we're working on, and blooms and things. So I have big ones of these, but I also have a small one that folds up like 8 inches inside my camera bag. Anyway, questions, anybody, just pop them out there if you need them. Now, these are important to me. I mean, I was raised on a farm, and I've always got a knife on me. I collect knives. I have like 150 knives, but I always have knives in my camera bag, which is tough because every time I go on an air flight trip, I have to strip my bag down to find everything. But we have knives, and we also have handyman tools. If you don't have one of those, this is one of the most, I think, an important tool to have in your bag. And then the little gear tighteners we can use to tighten up. In fact, I just on a shoot yesterday, my head started loosening up and just had to tighten up my head with it. So this is a thing. In fact, Lynn, I don't know if you remember, some of the people on the Croatia trip had some issues with their tripods. I was able to fix all their tripods while we're out there. So this is some of the things I carry with me there. And another set of tools and a little set of jeweler screwdrivers to fix little screws on camera lenses that come loose and barrels and things. And now this seems funny, but I have the all important elastic band wrapping around all this. Why would that be such an important little thing to have? You guys are out shooting outside. I suppose nobody's ever had a filter that they put on a polarizer or a neutral density or something, a screw on that wouldn't come off. And you can't get enough grip. So I just take the elastic band, put it on there, and it gives me a little oomph on it. So it helps me get that off of there. So that's just a crazy little thing to have in your bag. Now, these things come in handy. I mean, I don't have a full roll of duct tape. I have a partial roll of duct tape in my bag because that's important because you can fix camera bags and things. But like, I have little tiny carabiners, and some of them are in different sizes. And these actually come in very handy. Like we were in Croatia last year doing a workshop and running through the one of the airports. My camera bag broke, my straps broke, my hooks broke, and so I was able to take some of the rings, rebuild my strap, and rebuild my strap bag so I could carry my camera bag. And then I had somebody else that needed something to tie onto the back of their bag to tie some tools on. So they're not that expensive, and boy, I tell you, they sure come in handy. We do carry, I do carry when I'm on long trips, the PEC pads. I carry the cleaners, the sensors. I know some of those don't have the mirrorless, but some still use them. I still have to clean that off. And I carry a whole little kit. Now this is an old Vivitar cleaner case I've had for years, but I keep replacing that liquid and keep putting new cleaners there so I can clean the cloths. Have cleaning cloths for the front of the lenses. I think that's one of the challenges I see, especially when I'm judging and doing different things, is people have dirt on the front of the elements and then or front of their camera lenses, and that reflects back and causes challenges with their lens. So this is something I think real important to carry and work with all the time. And there again, when we're in traveling, I have several sets of these, but I have like a little mini card readers that I carry extra ones. Because somebody's always missing one, and then I carry a little tiny cable that we can hook the computer to hotels and different places and hook things together. So I carry a lot of these little tiny tidbits of things just to conduct things and put the computers on the internet. Now you can laugh what you want here, but we stop on the side of the road a lot. We're on the road, and people do not pay attention. So I found these on actually in a store in Utah, Sharon, I was at, and I found them online as well. So when we're out and about on the side of the road, even though our blinkers are going, we're off the side, we're doing this, I'll just throw these on real quick because it just helps people pay attention because they see car stop, they're not paying attention, they may not see us. So this is just one of the things we try to do to keep safe. You know, and how can you miss a cute little smile when you see Sherry there? But this is some of the things that we do when we're going out. And these are all in a backpack. I'll show you later how we handle this. We always carry snacks. I always have my camera bag's always got protein bars and snacks in it, as well as several garbage bags. A little time it's stuffed at the bottom of my bag. Now, for a couple reasons. If it's really getting crappy weather, I can put the bag over my camera gear. I can cover over the top of my bag. One of the things is, if I've actually gotten places where I found a whole bunch of trash and people are being just naughty out there, I picked up trash and brought it back and dumped it out because that kind of stuff really bothers me. So it's got a lot of uses for it. I think that's something that should be in the bottom of your bag. So as we're cruising along, hey, now this is something Sherry gave me for Christmas a couple years ago, and I know you can get different sizes, and I have it in my car all the time. And this is great because it has jumper cables, it has an air hose on it, has little USB ports to plug into it, charger, and then of course you can jump your car. It has a battery charger in it and the air hose in here, and we have saved our lives and saved other people with been out and about and help start their cars and fix their cars and air compressor and pump up tires. So these are not that expensive, and so this is one thing that she gave me for Christmas. It just lives in our car, and I have to go in and charge the battery. There's a place in the back, you charge it up periodically, but we have used the heck out of this thing. Any questions or comments so far? All right. Okay, stories here. So I have axes, and I actually have people bet me I don't have all this stuff in the car, and guess what they lost? And a bow saw, because for example, Sherry and I were teaching a workshop in Colorado a couple last year or 2 years ago, and I've had axes and so, but just because I had it, we were on top of a mountain at sunrise. A big windstorm came through, and as we were trying to get back off the mountain, trees had fell across the road, and we couldn't pull them up because they're so heavy. So the only way to do it is, thank goodness, I had a bow saw and we had some axes and was able to cut them up, and then was able to winch them off, and so we could get off the top of the mountain. So those are just, I think, important to have. And then the axes can do the same thing, hack little leaves or branches or fix things. So those are also in my car as well. Okay, this is a portable light, and this is a safety light, and this has a beam. Like if you got something you're doing, like fixing a tire or working on something, this gives a beam, and then these can alternate back and forth, and they have a stand, and they alternate back and forth, so they cause caution lights. So these are just another little precautionary light and auxiliary light that we carry. When you're out and about and broken down or something, you don't have enough lights. And growing up on a farm in Idaho, this was standard operating procedure to carry, and I've always carried these in my car. Jumper cables. I mean, I got the little portable jumper, but this is just necessary to help out and about. And if you need some challenge to help somebody, these are just great to have. And it's funny how many people don't even carry these in their cars anymore. And it's just learning how to use them and make sure you have them to help people out, or mostly help yourself out. Another little device that I think is great is like I have this inverter, and I never have enough plugins in my car, seems like. So I have an inverter, and they come in, of course, in different widths, powers, I should say. And so we can charge up my drone batteries, we can charge up my camera batteries, even though we got adapters. So we have just an additional way of charging up things and charging things and going from there. So I can plug up in my flash batteries and do different things at the same time. Now, sorry, I'll make sure I'm going here. Another thing is a little kit that you can fit, whether you get the whole kit here or not. This has the axe with it. This has a little saw in it. But the most important thing is a shovel. And it has been amazing how many times I've had to stop and help people shovel out of snow and mud and dirt and different things because they got out, and just because I had a shovel, was able to save them. So little tiny things like this are just great to have in the back of your rig. And tow straps. Again, tow straps can be used for a lot of things besides pulling people out of the car, out of holes or out of rock, but you can put between trees and put your tarp over, we're going to talk about, and make a quick shelter and do things like that. So that is really nice to have as well. And as is the tarp, like we talked about, because if you got something wrong, you have to get into the car, you can throw a tarp down, you can throw a tarp over a tree, you can just protect the things that you need to have with a small tarp. It doesn't have to be a big one. I have several, but the one I carry in the car is only a 10 by 10, so it's just good enough to carry over and make a little quick shelter if I need it. And rope. This is a thing, like I say again, you can make a little shelter, you can tie things off, you got tie branches off. You never know what you're going to need a little piece of rope for. I just have to hide it from Sherry so she don't hang me, but that's all good. I have to make sure that she doesn't know. All right, as we're cruising along, I mean, this sounds like a lot of stuff, but I have another little tiny toolkit. I mean, I've actually had to use these little guys out there, and it sounds like a lot of stuff, but these little clips come in handy, and I've used all these little wrenches and things, and whether you had to help somebody fix something, or you need to fix on some on a tripod, a little set of sockets. Sorry about that. So you got something to fix tools with, or tools to fix things with, and that, to me, that's important to have. As we cruise along, okay, now here's a can air. It doesn't have to be this brand. You can blow off your camera and blow off things, but like when we were just in Delaware, we went out in the sand and things, and so I was blowing off the tripod legs, trying to get the sand and wiping them off and getting the sand so the sand doesn't get in there and corrode. crow the inside of my tripod legs, and so it's just a nice way to have. I mean, yeah, you can't fly with this, but you can have it in your bag when you travel or come home. Make sure you have it to clean up things with, or just buy something where you're at, use it, and then leave it in your room. But it's a good thing to have. Now, we know about these, don't we, Lynn? Back in when we did Yellowstone, it was pretty nippy. It was it was like 13, 14 below the one morning we went out. And so toe warmers are really important for some people. I mean, I don't have a problem with my feet getting cold, but some people do. And Miss Sherry uses them. And hand warmers are great because you can put them in your pockets and warm up your hands, whatever. Now, I have another use for them because there's been times when the lenses, I've been that one's been so cold, the lenses start having a hard time um, manipulating and working. I'll just take one of those and take that little infamous little rubber band and just put it on top of the lens, the back of the lens, or on top of the lens, and I help warm the lens up so it's not going to freeze up when you go out and about. And this has saved my marriage. This is a coat. And Sherry, do you want to talk about that real fast? I'll let you.
Dennis got this for me for Christmas about 4 years ago, I think now. It's a heated coat, battery operated, has 3 different levels, and it makes being out in the cold a lot more bearable than before I got it. Before I got it, it was miserable and painful, and I would only be out of the car for a minute before I would have to get back in it. But having that heated coat has really helped me be able to stay out longer when it's that cold.
And heated socks and heated. So there's things like that that make the life so much better when go out, and they're not expensive. They're like 2.5 or something like that. And then these little portable rain ponchos, and we have several sets of this backpack. I have ponchos that we can use, and it's just things of being ready. But this is something Sherry uses all the time when we're out and about. There again, you can see another poncho in a package here. I have a spare one here, but this one is for the cameras because we've up in the Olympic Park in Washington, and it's so rainy and moist. And we put those over the camera lenses. Your cameras are geared so they get a little moisture, but when it's so wet and so rainy, and just going out and photographing with these make life so much easier and saves your camera gear. So these aren't that expensive. I just ordered them on Amazon and was able to get some and to keep my camera bags as well. Now, gloves. This is a big deal, and I know Lynn called us last year. He came to Yellowstone, and I give him some other brands that we use, and I've probably got half a dozen different kinds of gloves I like. And this one is got the fingertips out, so you can actually do some things, put your fingers back in. And this is a mitten, so your hands are inside the mitten, then you just unzip it, and your fingers that you need to come out will work. And so if you go out and do much when it's cold, find what's going to work for you and get them, because we had a guy this year that got so excited when we saw some buffalo in the snow covered face buffalo. He ran out with just his tripod, no gloves at 14 below. He frostbit all the fingertips, and it's not pleasant when your fingertips get frozen and frostbite. He wasn't a happy camper for a couple of days, but he knew it was his own fault. And the other big thing we talk about is boots and socks. And so there's a couple of things here. This is just a brand I like. This is what I've had, Sorels. There's other brands out there. I just like Sorels because I've had good luck with them. I like them. But the other thing is if you get Sorels, you can also be out in the snow and ice on packs. We'll get these attachments on your boots that you can put on and lock them off, and so you can walk without a lot of damage. But you want to take them off when you get back in a car, but out walking around just makes for a lot more secure. And then getting good socks. Oh my goodness, guys. When we go out, we carry thermal socks. I like to layer mine with a thin and a thicker pair, so I absorb and then keep warm. And so I always layer when I'm out and about. So this good pair of thermal socks, you know, they're not going to be cheap. I'm going to admit these are not going to be cheap. And this is something that will benefit you for a long time having something like this. So we carry blankets in the car. I don't have these particularly in my bag, but we carry extra blankets when we're out and about in the back. And so there's enough for each one of us, or how many other people in the car. Sherry has them wrapped around her all the time, keeping warm. It's just a security thing to have. Now, there's a story behind all this, but I carry Fix a Flat, and then also these little tire patch kits, so you can do a tire patch if you have to the hole, get a hole or something in, and then you can use that little generator and blow it back up. Well, I didn't have the tire patch kit. The reason why this is in there now, because a couple of years ago we were doing a senior portrait up on their family's ranch, photographing the cattle and different things with her. And I got out of the car and I heard a hissing noise, and my tire had a big hole in it. I don't know what it was. So I didn't have the patch, but I told the dad to go get me a willow. I cut a willow off, stuck a willow in the hole and trimmed it off. And I was able to drive. It's the same kind of principle. I wetted it down, stuck it in, and I was able to drive off the mountain to finish the job. But on the way down, it was funny because the girl says, I want to do one more shoot. I want to do this one more area. And I said, I really want to get off the mountain before it gets dark, because I didn't want to have to change in the dark, even though it got lights. And the dad goes, I'll tell you what, if you go do the pictures, I'll change your tire for you. So I go, okay, that's a deal. And I waited till I heard the trunk close, or the back of my tailgate close, before I said, oh, we're done. So these are just little things that I think is very important to have it out there. Now we're going to talk about, you talked about all these little things here, and this is the list here, but where do I keep all this stuff? So I have numerous backpacks, and I took one of my old backpacks and I put all this stuff in a backpack. You know, the shovel's not, the axe not, because they live in the car, and the rope and some things, but the first aid kit and a lot of these little things live in this backpack. And so as I'm going out, I grab my camera bag, I grab my safety bag, and off we go. And it's just basically out of the way. And it's important to have that. And that way, when it's in there all the time, that all my stuff is in there, that I don't have to go around looking for it all the time and wonder where it's at. So even if you got it somewhere else, I always make a double pack of things and put it together. Yeah, I did make a little part about this. Yeah, if you want to travel with me, I do like chocolate chip cookies and red vines and Dr. Peppers. Okay. Lynn knows that. All right. All right. So, you know, most of all, when you get out there, I just want everybody to be safe, use common sense. I know it's not a flower that grows in his garden, but we just want to have fun. And that's so important for us, to get out there and have fun and be safe. So I know we went through real fast. I didn't have any comments and questions. If you'll make a screen capture, this is my information you can snag. If you ever want to write me, call me. Don't look on the post office walls, but we're good. Did somebody have a question or something they wanted to ask?
I did. I have a question. I was just curious, Dennis, what is the latest laws regarding professional photography and video in national parks?
Okay. Well, national parks, photography, you can do photography, and I actually have a printed out form. Okay, thank you for asking that, Michael. I have a printed out form that I print off the internet, and I don't have a copy to show you. I'll see if I can get it, and I'll send it to Robert May. He can disperse it for you guys, saying that I can photograph in the park, but I'm not teaching a workshop. Now that's a different story, but just photographing is one thing. But if you're doing it for commercial use, you have to have a permit. Like if you're doing a workshop,
it's called a CUA permit.
Thank you, Shay. I couldn't remember the name up right offhand. Commercial, you're unauthorized permit. But if you're doing any kind of workshops or shooting a commercial job or anything, you have to have a permit to do it in the park.
Is there a cost on that?
Yes, there is. It's several $100s for a year and it's per park. Like if we do one in Tetons, there's one, Yellowstone's one. If we go to Yosemite, it's one. And so a lot of times when we had California call us up, and I told them they had to get the permit, and they had to get it all and pay for all that as part of the deal. But I just don't want to be having a challenge when we're out and about and having a ranger.
Yeah.
come give us any troubles.
Sure. Yeah.
But one thing I do is if a ranger comes up, I introduce myself and I just tell them who I am. And most of the time they're out there hanging out. I'll give them say, hey, here's a power bar and a bottle of water or something. Because a lot of times they're out and about and they'll thank me for it. In fact, a year ago we were photographing this big old grizz up in Yellowstone, and I met the ranger the day before, and we talked, and I give him a bottle of water because he's out chasing the Turons. That's the tourists that don't know what they're doing.
Sure.
And so the next day we're out again, and the bear was out and about again, and he was chasing everybody else. He goes, "Oh, but you can stay. You know what you're doing." And so he was nice to me, but I just let him know who I was and what I was doing. But the whole thing is just to make an ass out of yourself.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I just popped it. Go ahead.
Dennis, well, another thing, among all those that equipment that you had, do you also carry emergency Mylar blankets in those in your?
Yes, and that's one thing I didn't put back in there. I took it out, and I was going to say yes, I have those as well. I thought you was asking me if I was going to carry a weapon, but yes, I do have those in there, and they're in the back. I have an Acadia. And then if there's a little space, the whole width is about 2.5 feet wide, and it's the whole back trunk, and the whole back of this lifts up, has a shovel, the axes, the ropes, everything else. And then the first aid kit and all the other small stuff is in a bag. So it's always in my car when I'm out and about.
Dennis,
Yes.
on your Instagram, your newest unhacked Instagram is Dennis Hammon Photography. Not
I thank. Yeah, I have 2 accounts. One got hacked, so it's just Dennis Hammon Photography. So thank you, Sherry. And then we talked about some of you came in and not, but Sherry and we got several workshops coming up. We have a Scotland workshop this fall. We got next spring, we're doing another one with Scotland 1 week and Ireland another week. And then we got a Croatia trip that Lynn went on us again. So we got that working on, trying to finalize that for next year as well. So you can just if you find us on Facebook and find us, because we teach around in different places and do workshops and things. But the Scotland thing is just coming together real fast, and it's going to be exciting.